This is KRP, Ken's Random Podcast.
Thanks for joining me for episode 39 of KRP, Ken's Random Podcast. Today I'll have observations and comments on two eyes, plus some other random topics that may just pop into my head. Now here's a public service disclaimer. Don't try to fact check anything you hear because it probably won't compute, and mostly you're hearing my opinion anyway. In addition, all episodes of KRP are produced without adult supervision. And before we get into episode 39 of KRP, I need to tell you about Anchor. And if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. First off, it is free. They've got creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple, and many other platforms. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Go ahead, do it today.
This is KRP, Ken's Random Podcast.
Later in the podcast, I'll discuss revolution. But first, I promised comments on two eyes. The first eye is infrastructure. In recent years, we've seen news stories about highways being swept away by floodwaters. We've seen bridges drop from the sky and seen many highways and streets become moon country. No, moon country does not have anything to do with the mouth of the South, Moon Griffon. When I was attending USL, and for you younger listeners, UL was called USL, and there was a very short street named Rex Street, which ran between the library and the student bookstore. And a few of us began calling the street Moon Country due to all the potholes. Now, if you were able to drive I-10 with your eyes closed, you'd be able to sense the change in terrain to alert you that you no longer were in Arkansas or Mississippi or Texas. So my infrastructure rant starts with potholes and patching of said potholes and wavy gravy stretches of road as we feel on Highway 90 near, they call it the future I-49. I'm not waiting for that. But anyway, you know what I mean. Highway 90 between New Iberia and Jeanerette. First, I have to ask, where did all the money from the oil industry and the lottery disappear to? I know the lottery was supposed to be dedicated to, I think, education. How's that working out for us? Do you think it might be corruption in state government if that money went somewhere other than where it was supposed to go? I understand potholes magically appear as if sprinkled on our roads by little elves. So, potholes appear, and we have crews dedicated to eradicating them. I guess I'm so old, I remember when city streets were constructed of concrete, not this black stuff, tar, yuck. Potholes magically appeared, but not as often, and not on every street in Lafayette at once. I'm fortunate to live in Youngsville with an incredible mayor and city council. Mayor Ken Ritter and the council have taken Youngsville from a small farming community to a bustling bedroom community adjacent to the hub city of Lafayette. With population exploding, we've seen new subdivisions emerging from cane fields with the associated problems of traffic and drainage. I'm happy to say that Mayor Ritter and the council have done an incredible job of addressing those problems, and becoming the roundabout capital of the state or the world is helping to alleviate some of the issues, and the projected start of the widening of Highway 89 to 4 lanes will undoubtedly make life more pleasant. More retention ponds being created are helping the drainage issues, and the ponds or lakes being constructed off of Highway 92 near Sugar Mill Pond will certainly help. In addition to drainage, the ponds will provide recreation areas for the community. And the second I want to discuss is inspections. Vehicle inspections, I mean. Why don't they just call it what it is? Taxation without representation. Every year or two, we have to search for a place to get an inspection sticker. The search is a struggle. because fewer and fewer inspection locations can be found. Once you find a place to get your car inspected, you can expect to be greeted by someone who really doesn't want to stop playing with their cell phone to help you. Imagine attempting to get your work done, and every few minutes someone drives up to disrupt your work or cell phone activity to buy a sticker that only signifies somebody paid for the sticker and you were disrupted in whatever efforts. Now, the establishment makes no profit. Employees are taken away from productive work, maybe. How many vehicles have we all seen on the road with valid inspection stickers, broken headlights or taillights, windows tinted too dark, and exhaust systems that produce more noise than muffled sound? So, that taxation comes from me having to chase around South Louisiana to buy a sticker that only proves I paid $10 for the privilege of driving on substandard roads. I don't know anybody that's been ticketed for an expired inspection sticker unless they've been in an accident or stopped for speeding. Unless an officer spots you in slow-moving city traffic, they're unable to read that sticker from that far away. Now, if I'm going to be taxed for driving privileges, I think it would be okay just adding the sticker cost to my license plate cost. That way, I wouldn't have to disrupt somebody's work, the state wouldn't have to pay for the printing of the stickers, and I would not have to search the countryside for a business that would glue a useless sticker onto my windshield. I'll be back in a moment to discuss revolution. But this portion of KRP, Ken's Random Podcast, is brought to you by Cajun Food Tours. My friend Marie Ducote drives tourists and locals to schedule stops at various restaurants and businesses to showcase real Cajun cuisine. In addition, Marie provides a running commentary on local history. If you belong to a group looking for an activity, Marie at Cajun Food Tours can help. And if you've got friends or family visiting, take them on a Cajun food tour to entertain them and feed them some great Cajun food. Call Cajun Food Tours at 337-230-6169 or visit their website, CajunFoods.com. Now, onward to the subject of revolution. We are a nation founded on revolution. Revolution in the 1700s from British tyranny, taxation, and religious freedom, and now the beginnings of an internal revolution. Way back in the 1970s, there was an early rapper/poet named Gil Scott-Heron. Heron recorded an album that included a title called The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. How wrong was Gil Scott-Heron? We've had riots in the streets of major cities, riots in our nation's capital, our criminal justice system being overloaded, more drugs than ever on our streets, random mass shootings, calls to defund police, verbal and physical attacks on senators and congressmen in public places, and now a physical attack on Senator Nancy Pelosi's husband in his own home. What do these things have in common? They're all televised over and over and over. Do these as separate events fuel other events, or does the constant video evidence fuel more such events? The revolution is being televised. Gil Scott-Heron was wrong, and he didn't live long enough to see his mistake.
NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs.
Thanks for joining me for episode 39 of KRP, Ken's Random Podcast. I would appreciate if you would tell your friends to take a listen to KRP. KRP, Ken's Random Podcast, is available on iTunes, Spotify, and most other podcast platforms, so there's no reason to miss an episode anywhere in the universe. Remember, don't try to fact-check anything you've heard because it was just my opinion and it may or may not be true. I didn't intentionally lie, but it's possible I said something that, well, in addition, all episodes of KRP are written and produced without adult supervision. In an upcoming episode, I'll have a major announcement for you. Until then, stay random.
This is KRP, Ken's Random Podcast.